Where am I looking?
You're there, I'm there, and we're both there.
Okay, so they're switching between the three. Cool.
Yeah.
I'm ready. We're live.
We're
Hey.
live. Are we live?
Are we live?
All right, cool. Hey, I'm going to check. I'm going to look on YouTube and see if we're live. Oh, actually, there's a delay. Oh, yeah, we're on. I can see us.
You can see.
People
Is
are
this like the
talking to
Spaceballs
us.
scene where they're watching themselves?
It's weird. We're watching
When will
ourselves
then be
online
now?
right now.
Soon. Hey, everybody. I'm Kyle Mann, editor-in-chief of the Babylon Bee.
I'm Ethan Nicolle. I'm the creative director of the Babylon Bee.
He directs all our creativity.
I creatively direct.
And I edit everybody, and I reject all the terrible jokes, and I publish all the good jokes. We're the guys behind a lot of the funny stuff that you read and also the not funny stuff that you read on the Babylon Bee.
Or watch.
We have 2 jokes on the Babylon Bee. I came up with one. Ethan came up with the other.
We
so
are
we
the
only need 2 people.
Inventors of these 2 jokes.
We are the inventors and purveyors and proprietors of the 2 jokes that conservatives tell.
We co-parent these jokes together.
Yeah, we alternate weekends.
As 2 fathers.
Yes, but straight.
Hetero life mates.
Hetero life mates.
All right, we got questions
For life.
from people.
Yeah, we're going to do a little Q&A here.
Yeah, is there anything other preliminary stuff we want to say? Or
We're just going to jump in and
tell your friends about this to
answer
come watch.
your questions. So there's people who pay us because they're like cool and they want to support Satire, so they pay us some money every month to do what we do.
It's not much. It's a little bit of money.
A little money, a few bucks. BabylonBee.com/plans if you want to check it out and become a paying subscriber of the Babylon Bee. We are going to jump into their questions first, and then we're going to pop over to YouTube and grab some YouTube questions.
We'll peek at those YouTube comments.
Pepper in some YouTube questions, and we'll see how this goes.
Yeah, it's moving so fast I can't keep up, but they're saying hi guys and stuff like that.
Oh, cool. Is there a lot of emojis?
Oh, yeah, we got Spider, Logan, and Petty Prophet, and Ego, S. Gonea, and Evan Crabtree, and Harrison Goldfarb, and Dennis Fitzpatrick, and all these people.
You're just listing everybody.
Yeah, they like it when you do that.
Oh, they say all their names.
They feel seen.
Word Ninja.
I see you.
I see you. We see you. We see into your soul, and we know what you're wearing. And we're going to go ahead and start with some subscriber questions that were submitted to our website. First question is from Pre-Trib Rapper. Pre-Trib Rapper. Like he's a rapper, but he raps about
Pre-tribulation, an abomination,
of the salvation, so you don't get left behind.
Like a watermelon rind.
You always beat me in the rap battles. So Pre-Trib Rapper asks, is Kyle eating differently as he looks like he has lost some weight over the last year? I do recall Ethan saying he was on a diet at one point and doing well, but wasn't sure if Kyle was on some sort of journey too.
Are you on a journey, Kyle?
I'm on a journey, a weight loss journey. There's going to be a documentary about it. It wouldn't be that exciting because it would be like a guy who went from 215 to 195 back to 205.
What percentage of your
and
body?
Then chipping back down to 190.
Yeah.
It's not as dramatic as a good weight loss documentary. But yeah, I'm like going to the gym and like...
you got like a trainer and stuff, right?
And I train her, and I don't eat a bunch of crap all the time. Although I did just eat a bag of Cheetos before we started. So sad, not good.
Yeah, I've been working out and stuff, but it's not working. I mean, it's not having a huge effect on me. I need to try harder.
And it's always a kind of a little
I actually am trying more than usual, like the last few months, but I think I'm hitting that age where like I have to really go all out if I want to lose some weight. It's getting way harder. The older I get, the way harder it is.
I'm feeling a little bit that way too. It's always a little bit of a backhanded compliment when someone says you lost so much weight.
Yeah, it's like, oh, I was
like,
fat.
how
well,
big
I know that, yeah.
So
I have no,
no.
Slightly Desperate Housewife, our good friend
SDH,
says, how much time do you spend surfing the news for craziness happening that needs to be satirized?
As little as possible is my answer.
But Kyle does more of it than I do.
I just in the morning I check and see what everybody's talking about to make jokes about. If I didn't have this job, I wouldn't read any news at all because it's bad for your brain.
Yeah, you don't need to go to the news. Just go to us and
we will chew up the news and spit it into your mouth like a little baby bird.
Like a hilarious chewed up worm.
Yeah, it's a very funny worm. Go Big Blue says, when will Chesterton's Gateway be available? I'm getting ready to give you Federal Reserve notes in exchange for literature. Ethan's writing or collecting a bunch of Chesterton essays with introductions and notes, and it's going to be awesome. Chesterton's Gateway is a book Ethan's coming out with soon. When's it going to be available?
I don't know. Amazon is giving me the old runaround. Yeah. So runaround Sue. So Amazon's AI, I keep debating with Amazon's AI, and they don't understand. I guess AI doesn't know a lot about G.K. Chesterton. because I keep trying to tell them that G.K. Chesterton is public domain in the United States, and it thinks that it's public domain everywhere else. So if you live internationally, you can actually find the book on Amazon right now and get it. So go for it if you want to. Even the paperback. I can't get the paperback. I've never held it in my hands, but you can if you're in Australia or somewhere like that. But Amazon has decided that it can't be for sale in the U.S., so I'm fighting this fight, trying to get it to be for sale in the U.S. You can also order it off of like Australia and pay a bunch of extra money to get it if you want to do that. But so I haven't officially announced its release, but it'll be out at some point. And it's my book for all the people that I get asked all the time, where should I start with Chesterton? It's a complicated answer. I'm this long, complicated answer with all these links to all these essays. So I decided to just make it into a book. I added a bunch of notes and made it the most accessible Chesterton book I could come up with. So it's coming. Or if you live outside of the U.S., it's on Amazon. Go check it out. Yeah, check it out.
This one's mostly for me. It's from Scott's Tots.
Okay. It
says, what's your favorite disc golf disc and course? And I would say Kit Carson Park in Escondido or Prado in Chino. And my favorite disc is the Innova Star Destroyer. Done.
Cool.
Play disc golf. You need to play disc golf.
Happy for you.
So just chill out, people. Don't read the news. Play disc golf.
I'm here for the podcast. I love that screen name.
That's a great screen name. Wonder why they subscribe to the Babylon.
Yeah,
I wonder why they're here.
Support freedom. Ethan, why Bears? Kyle, who's your dream interview? Why do you get the good question?
Well, I am curious. Why you should gravitate towards bears, though?
Okay, you really want the whole story?
Well, I don't know. Is it just a fun animal to draw? Because he does the Bearmageddon comic, and the Bears Want to Kill You
book.
book.
I have a very detailed, long comic called Bearmageddon, which is not done yet. If you've read any of it, you can tell it's a lot of work. And then I did a book, Bears Want to Kill You. So, okay, the evolution of my obsession with bears started when I was in a rock band, and we were doing long drives for shows and touring. My buddy is in the band with. We just, you're doing these long drives together. We just started joking around a lot about bears. There's just something inherently funny about them. So we started creating these scenarios in our heads about bears destroying an entire city, and like a little tiny town. The government had to cover it up, just blow the whole thing and raise it to the ground so no one would know the power of bears because they wouldn't want the unrest, And then we started joking around with this guy named Dickinson Killdeer. He's this guy that kills bears because there's two towns, one called Dickinson and one called Killdeer, where we're driving. It was like in Montana or South Dakota or something. Anyway, so all that stuff led to me creating Bearmageddon. It was just an idea for a comic. And then all the stuff outside of that was promotion for Bearmageddon. I was making all these bear memes, and then they were doing well, so I made Bearmageddon News Network. It's a website that's still up. You can find nothing. It's like the Babylon Bee, but only bear jokes. And it's there. It exists, BNN. And then it's because I wanted to kind of test Kickstarter. I created Bears Want to Kill You, the book. Because I had never done a Kickstarter. I wanted to do something I had content for. I knew I could crank it out. And not something that's super precious to me. Like Bearmageddon is close to my heart. I've worked really hard on it. I want to make a nice, huge book someday off Kickstarter with that. And so this is kind of my maiden voyage into Kickstarter. So that's why I have all this bear stuff now. I've become known as Bear Guy, but it's all kind of based around the same obsession.
My dream interview is John Foreman of Switchfoot, or maybe some of the heavy metal dudes that are like supposed to be Christian. Like
that are supposed to?
Like the guys that are like in Iron Maiden.
John Foreman's from Switchfoot.
Yes, correct.
Not everybody knows that.
I already said that.
Oh.
John Foreman of Switchfoot.
Oh.
Or a heavy metal guy like Dave Mustaine, supposedly became a Christian a few years back.
Okay.
Dave Ellefson of Megadeth.
Mine's Norm Macdonald.
Norm Macdonald. They didn't ask you, though.
Yeah.
Nico McBrain from Iron Maiden. It'd be fun to talk to Alice Cooper.
All these answers.
It'd be fun to talk to someone that was like, like, are they really Christian?
Yeah,
like,
Alice Cooper, cool.
We on our podcast, we like to ask extremely deep theological questions.
Very deep.
To people that you wouldn't expect.
Like, do midgets have night vision?
We did ask that of an apologist today.
Frank Turek.
So I would like to talk deep theology with some of these heavy metal dudes. Another one from I'm Here for the Podcast. What is a subscriber dare that was just too much? So
usually they're just dumb.
Yeah, so we do subscriber dares where we'll challenge people to send us a dare, and if we do it, they have to subscribe to the Babylon Bee. And it was just started as a little fun thing that we were doing. But people started doing like very elaborate ones or ones that took extremely long time.
Years. Like one of them we just got was Ethan read the rest of Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, it's like I'm gonna spend.
So like I'm gonna be on the podcast.
How do you prove it? You could just say you did it.
Yeah, I could just lie. And then the other ones that we get are like people like they send us their book.
Promote my book.
Read my book and promote it. Give it a review on the air.
Yeah, so they were using it as a way to like pay for an expensive podcast ad read for only $5 a month.
Nothing. Well, yeah, for $5 a month. So that's it. If you send us something simple, we can do it. You know, we'll still do them.
Like we thought subscriber dares is like eat something hot.
Yeah.
I mean, or something like that. We'll do them.
Yeah, like pick Kyle's nose.
Yeah, we would do that.
If you're Patrick, not me. I don't want to do it. Okay, Neo Hillbilly. Is Twitter worth it?
No.
No.
Another one from I'm Here for the Podcast. What's the worst part of your job? Twitter.
Twitter?
Keeping up,
part of the job?
keeping up with the news and trying to write 8 funny jokes a day.
I think mine's the animation program.
just fighting the
it's
animation
Flash.
program.
Basically, it's Adobe Animate.
Yeah.
It's so glitchy. There are times where it just makes me want to kill my brain. I don't want to kill myself. I'll never kill myself, but it makes me want to think about wanting to.
We're going to get taken down for...
Am I up?
Gearhead. Question from Gearhead subscriber. We'll do a couple more subscriber ones, and we'll jump over to YouTube and grab some YouTube comments, and then we'll jump back to subscribers. Gearhead asks, Kyle, what's your favorite Lord of the Rings board game and why? I'm so glad you asked. Reiner Knizia's Lord of the Rings. Reiner Knizia's Lord of the Rings, The Confrontation. Lord of the Rings. Oh, this is in ranked order. Lord of the Rings, the living card game from Fantasy Flight Games. Journeys in Middle-earth by Fantasy Flight Games. War of the Ring by Ares Games. Hunt for the Ring, also by Ares Games. Knizia's Hobbit games, the ones based on the movie, not the child, the ones that was based on the book. And Risk, Lord of the Rings Trilogy Edition. There are many more Lord of the Rings board games, but those are the only ones worth mentioning, or I haven't played the other ones. Ethan, what's your favorite comic book series? And
That
why?
sounded like a group of like Chinese businessmen having a conversation about Lord of the Rings. It was like, Lord of the Rings. Lord of the Rings. Lord of the Rings.
Chinese. Edit that out, Dan. Oh, shoot, this is live.
We can't edit.
Usually we can just tell them to edit.
We can say that because we got a couple of guys here that are Chinese and they like the jokes. They're friends, yeah.
It's not why we brought them. They were good at their job.
But they
Just
like
happened
it.
to be.
They like it.
Okay. Well,
My favorite comic book series and why? I should have one. I mean, I grew up loving the black and white Ninja Turtles books, but I don't know if I would say that's...
it's got to be good.
Yeah, it's good.
You know?
What was my favorite? I'm trying to think of my... Well, Calvin and Hobbes. Can I say that? It was probably not Calvin. It's not
They're
comics,
probably
that's
thinking graphic
cartoons.
novel,
they're
but
thinking
I mean...
comics, yeah.
Calvin and Hobbes, that's good.
I mean, the most impactful on me were definitely the black and white Mirage Studios Ninja Turtles comics.
Okay, there it is. Kyle and Ethan, favorite Old Testament and New Testament books of the Bible. For me, it's Psalms in the Old Testament and Philippians in the New Testament.
You like pre-answered these.
I did. I wrote my answers down, so
Wow.
I'd be ready.
You're ready. I wanted it to be a real experience where they're seeing the emotion
I didn't do that.
fill my eyes.
I just did it for a few.
And, you know, it's like they're really talking to me. We're here. We're talking.
Well,
Old Testament, I have a love of Ecclesiastes.
Oh, yeah. I want to change my answer. I'm going to change it to Ecclesiastes.
New Testament, I don't, it's hard, that one's harder for me.
You don't like the New Testament as much?
There's so many, there's so many that are good.
You're like a
it's
hipster, like the old one was good and the new one.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what I'd pick. I don't know what I'd pick in New Testament. Like
Matthew, Mark,
one of the Gospels.
Luke.
I like that part where
John.
Jesus comes back. Yeah. But no, like a whole book.
Like Revelation? Like the part where Jesus
You picked
comes
Philippians.
Back? Yeah.
I mean, I might.
What's the part where Jesus comes back?
I
The
feel
end
like
of the
it's,
gospel?
yeah. Let's just go with Romans. Yeah, Romans.
you can't go wrong
You can't
with
go
that.
wrong with Romans.
Let's do one more from the subscribers, and then we'll jump to some YouTube comments. Listen, I'm Here for the podcast asked us a ton of questions. We
And
got a
good
bunch of
ones.
questions, but he asked us like a
And we
bunch of good
picked
ones.
these too, so we picked his questions. Like, his good ones.
I picked the good ones. If God declared all crime
Mm-hmm.
moral, what crime would you commit?
You did not answer this one in the notes.
No, because I couldn't answer. I couldn't think.
I originally wanted to say I just go full on Grand Theft Auto and just start running
That
down the
sounds
street.
fun, right?
But it's a one crime, so you can't just go berserk.
What
right?
one crime would you commit?
Yeah.
So like running over pedestrians.
Then I was gonna say,
But
like,
then you can't steal the car because that's a different crime.
then I was gonna say like crazy orgy, but that's not one crime. It's a whole bunch of people. You can't do that.
And the premise of the question,
I know.
like,
You're just admitting to
what
it.
crimes? moral? I mean,
mushrooms. I've always wanted to try mushrooms.
But are mushrooms a sin?
I don't think they're really a sin. So Oh, wait a minute. People are going to be mad when they say that drugs aren't a sin.
That you said the drugs.
Technically, not a sin, right?
Well,
It's the law. It's a law.
They're plants. Are mushrooms just plants?
God made them.
God made them.
We got revelation, right? That's what Joe Rogan says.
Yeah, it's true. Let's jump over to YouTube.
I'm not used to the feeling of not being able to edit it. This is a little weird. I'm trying to I actually have my own filter going off. Usually I don't think about it. All right, so we're going over to YouTube.
Yeah, we're going to YouTube.
We got Swamp Songs saying Swampy Songs.
Moose says Ecclesiastes is the best.
Yeah, he agrees. Ethan, do you have libertarian sympathies? I do have sympathies with libertarian. I do. Not a lie, asks me.
Swampy Songs asks when we're going to get Babylon Bee NFTs.
I have some XCOP NFTs in the works,
really?
Actually, from a guy that,
I don't know what they are.
I don't understand either. He's like, you got to make them, man. I'm like, I don't know. You make them, we'll split the money. So he's doing it.
I'm slowly starting to understand, just slowly starting to wrap my mind around what Bitcoin is.
Yeah.
And then they came out with NFTs, and I was just lost. You guys are you vaxxed? Where's your vax card, man?
I identify as vaxxed.
Thomas. I do identify it as vax. That's one of our jokes. We can't tell the one or two of our two jokes.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, no.
Hey, shout out to Cappy, Billy Tabo's cat.
He wanted you to give a shout out to his cat?
To Cappy.
Okay.
What's your favorite Iron Maiden song? Muddy Pig asks.
Oh, that's a great question. The Trooper. Or maybe Fear of the Dark, the live version from the Rock and Rio album.
Okay. And Kyle, what do you enjoy about Portal 2?
I played it.
Darth Fladnag asks.
One of the first-person shooter games that my wife, for the first-person puzzle game that my wife played with me.
It's Gandalf backwards.
That my wife played with me cooperatively. We just absolutely blasted through the co-op mode.
You and your wife has just such a different relationship than me and my wife.
That was a special thing for us. That and Left 4 Dead 2, we played a ton of. We still play Left 4 Dead 2 all the time. We're going to play Back 4 Blood when it comes out shortly here.
Susan Judy asks, how much do you usually edit the podcast? We should get one of the editors in here to answer.
A lot.
A lot, really?
Shout out a lot. I think it's a lot of editing. Yeah.
Is it that much? Come on.
Sometimes.
They just want a lot of credit, We make.
Let me say that the conversation is not that edited.
Yeah, it's not like you're not editing out pauses as much. Maybe some. You edit out pauses. Sometimes.
If it's really awkward.
We don't have a whole script of here's what we want it to be, and we're gonna edit it and make it punchy and funny. We just talk.
Feels like lately we have had more episodes where things happen, like the mailman shows up, or we get into a thing and we forget what we're doing. We gotta edit that.
Here, one for me, one for you. Jacob Hamilton says, Kyle, what's your favorite class in Dungeons & Dragons? I like playing basic Dungeons & Dragons back from the 1970s, so I like just being a classic, human fighter. And Ethan, what's your favorite cigar? Asks Kelly Carr.
Gosh, I have so many favorites. One of my go-tos is the Rocky Patel Sun-Grown. And I like a lot of sun-grown cigars because I like that full, medium to full flavor range. But I have others I like a lot too. It's hard. I like a lot of Rocky Patels and I like a lot of AJ Fernandez.
Okay. Why don't we jump back over to some subscriber questions on our websites?
Sorry, guys. We're not talking to you. We're ignoring you again.
We're ignoring you again. We're shutting the door on
you. This guy's name
is
Jesus Christ is King of Kings and Lord of Lords. That's great.
It's just everything you need right there.
Did you hear me? I figured out what Darth Nadglaf was. Fladnag?
Gandalf.
Yeah, it's Gandalf backwards.
While I was answering a different question, you were doing that. The band Pilot. This guy's username is the band Pilot Drift.
Okay.
I don't know if he's trying to promote his band through his username.
No. The serious question.
Are you ready to answer this?
I'm ready. Yeah, whatever.
So we had an episode where we mourned the death of Ravi Zacharias. And
way back.
I didn't know much about Ravi, but I had read a book, and we had
he sat stoically as I wept.
Ethan was weeping over it. And it says, since then the Ravi scandal broke, and I'm sure you felt pain, anger, or confusion. I know that many believers can relate to you. Is there any comment you would like to share on how you processed this? By the way, is that episode still up? Or
I think it might still be up. Yeah, it's weird because I think I connect because I was even kind of shocked by my response to that because I never knew him personally like that. But I do think that there was. I connected him to my old mentor, who's an old man who did pass, and I do think it was. When I think back about it, I do think there's a connection there. Not that I didn't like. I really was sad about Ravi for and the impact he had, but it did remind me of the feeling when Pete passed, that there was this wisdom and this good person that was in the world, and now they're gone. And I do think that like the reason it was that emotional for me was because I usually someone who I've never met. I've never cried for somebody I've never met who passed like that. So I do think that for me, like that had a lot to do with the emotion there. The impact of him doing that is really disappointing. I hold back full judgment on it because it is like it's almost all people saying what happened, so I don't know exactly what happened and who knows what. And I feel really bad for his family who now has a website and they're trying to clear a lot of the stuff up, and they feel like a lot of it's being I don't know the full story, but like I've definitely it's just like a reminder that like you can't put your trust in any man whatsoever. I think we've all got secrets and sins, but yeah, it's easy to put people on pedestals, and I also don't think that it discounts or none of the words he said that were true. It doesn't make them untrue. So if he spoke truth, it was truth. It has nothing to do with who says it. But there's a million YouTube videos of people talking about the Ravi Zacharias thing. They can go watch those. They're smart. It's sad. It sucks.
Go Big Blue asks, where did Seth Dillon get all his Scrooge McDuck money? This is Seth Dillon is our CEO who purchased the Babylon Bee a few years ago. He works closely on growing the business side of things and been a great resource for us.
You mean like pop-up ads and stuff?
Just like selling stuff online and...
yeah, I guess I'm gonna.
He actually like just
tech stuff.
Went to college, left college, and just started like, hey, I want to make money, and just started doing stuff online with his brother Dan Dillon, who also owns part of the Babylon Bee, and they were just entrepreneurs that were going out there doing a lot of stuff for websites.
Everything telling about it something to the point of like he directed people to he found a way to direct people to a certain place, and he just put ads there, and there's a thing people needed, and there wasn't anywhere else for it online, and it just started generating money. It's like he created these creative ways to use the internet to make money.
Yeah,
like a Nigerian prince.
Yeah, he dives in his money vault every morning, and if you want to make that bigger, you can subscribe to the Babylon Bee.
This question. McFerber asked, does Ethan have any cool stories about his weight loss experience? He looks great. My weight loss experience from being about 295 to 277. That's about where I'm at now. So, it's kind of like, it's not that big of a journey, but it's cool.
It just feels weird to call it a journey. More like
it's
a trip out to the mailbox.
Right. It's like a little stroll.
It's
been a good stroll. I don't know.
Good stroll.
You don't want to
stroll.
I guess that's weird. When people ask me, how was your walk? You going to walk? I'm like, it's a walk. That's how I feel about this.
Another question from McFerber. Why is Cackling Patty less cackly lately? Is there even any hope for mankind anymore? Cackling Patty is Patrick, our producer, one of our producers, who likes to laugh very loudly at everything we do.
A lot. Catholics are all going to hell. See, that's how you get him to laugh.
You just make a joke about Catholics, and he starts laughing.
I was like, nailed it.
I was like, he absolutely figured it out.
I know. He didn't even resist.
It's because I told him to stop laughing so loud. That's why he doesn't laugh as loud anymore. But he can still laugh.
He can still with the upper brass.
But then I think he got scared and like stopped laughing at all. But I like, Patrick, we want you to laugh, just not.
Yeah, not. Just calm down a little bit.
Like not Kamala Harris. Like pull it back from Kamala Harris down to like Joker level, maybe.
Somewhere between.
We'd appreciate that.
Matt Esquire. Kyle, did you give into the online board game hysteria at all during COVID, or did you find a select few willing to meet in person like I did?
We did a couple of sessions of Dungeons & Dragons online, and I found it an absolutely miserable experience, so I stopped doing that, and we just kept meeting in person.
You did like D&D on Zoom or something?
Basically. It was miserable.
But what is your opinion on the board game Geek #1 Gloomhaven? In my opinion, it was just okay, overrated.
Never played it. I do have Gloomhaven Jaws of the Lion on my shelf that I have not yet gotten to play. And I don't know, those big dungeon crawl games, I would much rather play D&D for the most part. And then he says, Ethan, with your art skills and Kyle's penchant for board games, it feels like we should see an Axe Cup board game here soon. Any chance I can help try to design it for you, huh? There is an Axe Cop board game.
Well,
or
there's
card game.
Munchkin. If you like Munchkin, there's an Axe Cop Munchkin.
We did talk about doing Bearmageddon.
I would love to do a Bearmageddon board game or a Bears Want to Kill You card game.
Yeah, even though he hates board, he's never even played Axe Cop Munchkin.
I just can feel it.
He's
I know. I've tried playing like 3 times. People try to explain it to me. It's like a different language. I don't understand what they're saying.
He's listed as a designer on BoardGameGeek.com. No, he doesn't even know how to do it.
This is from anybody. Could be any of you. Most underrated CCM band from the 80s and 90s. Oh, you answered. Like
I answered. Well, I had some ideas. I struggle with this because to me, the most underrated are like the local bands that no one's ever heard of.
Mm-hmm.
So you probably wouldn't even care. The other ones that I thought of are actually really well respected, and still don't.
CCM means usually CCM means like mainstream.
Yeah, and that's not. I don't know. I just thought of like alternative Christian.
Yeah, if you're just saying Christian music.
Did you have any like you liked like Tooth and Nail that?
Well,
people
like CCM stands for contemporary Christian music.
Yeah, I still think that's kind of CCM because it's.
So contemporary just means of its time, right?
Yeah, I mean,
so I always thought of CCM at the time as being like Point of Grace and like.
I think CCM could encompass alternative.
So I think now looking back, I will include like Tooth and Nail and things like that.
So Craig's brother for you, I assume?
Yeah, Craig's brother and Stretch Armstrong.
Stretch Armstrong. You always bring up those.
I still listen to Stretch Armstrong to this day in my car, rocking out.
That's great. There was a local band in Chino called Broken Cedars that I loved, and I think they only ever put out one album. I did find it on YouTube. It's like pop punk, cool. Slick Shoes, they're still around. Like them. 5 Iron Frenzy. But again, like 5 Iron Frenzy, it's like, are they underrated? As far as Christian ska goes, they pretty much got to the top of, other than maybe the Supertones, they got to the top of the heap.
They probably deserve to be above the Supertones, but I'd say.
Yes, for sure.
As far as being like creatively to me, good music writers and the better show.
Lyrics, Joe, energy, they were better to me. And Supertones had that weird rap thing that they always tried to do that didn't really work for me.
They were trying to be like the ska version of Audio Adrenaline or something.
Yeah. I also throw in there Lifehouse and Switchfoot. Which again, it's like
Lifehouse.
Yeah, which again I throw out there.
Were they just famous anyway? Or I didn't even know they were Christians.
Right, and that's the thing. Is like to me they get lumped in with kind of like the Creed knockoffs, and Switchfoot gets lumped in with like mainstream CCM stuff. And to
I think of Lifehouse being with the guy that's like, "I'll be your crying shoulder." That guy. Is that a different guy?
That's a different guy. Okay. Yeah.
Which is similar to Creed, but without it's like acoustic Creed.
It's probably a little poppier than Creed.
Yeah.
I would agree with that. But they're good. Joseph of Arimathea says, probably not the actual one, but that's his subscriber name. He says, I haven't seen such wholesome, genuinely funny work in a long, long time. Keep up the great work, guys. Like Tony the Tiger. Mm-hmm. One question, though. What are your thoughts on Philippians 4:8? To use that part of God's word to guide you when writing satire? And I quoted it here for us. Finally, brothers and sisters, whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is admirable, if anything is excellent or praiseworthy, think about such things. So it's like, I guess, because we have to think of negative things all the time. Is that? Yeah,
it's a tough one. I always feel like there's more complexity to that verse than what we're able to, like, culturally. Because I just think, one of my favorite things about God that I'm fascinated by is when I just look at like the insanity of nature and know that He created all of that and said it is good. Like the bizarre creatures at the bottom of the ocean, the human skeleton.
Yeah, is that like lovely and admirable? And
right, and like the bizarre things that they do. I mean, I always bring up the tarantula hawk who, wrestles and poisons a tarantula, lays eggs in its body, and then its baby eats out the tarantula from inside after it wakes up. And then bursts out of his chest. So was God focusing on whatever is good and pure and lovely when He created the tarantula hawk?
Well, He did say it was good. He
specifically said it, right? So there is a certain way in which things that we think of as ugly or frightening, there's a goodness there in some way. It's more complicated than just bunnies are cute, right?
I think it is more complicated.
And that's the thing I want to understand. And I'm not saying I understand it, but like I do think that there's somewhere where, and Chesterton talks about this sometimes too, like that, there's something in the grotesque and the freaky. You see the gargoyle statues and things in old churches. It's almost like we used to understand that a little more, that there's something in the grotesque that has beauty. I can't nail it down, but that's probably a deeper answer than for like satire, but maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, that's good. Good answer.
Yeah.
Andrew Cleese asks,
deep one.
When will your more accurate Imagine parody selling from John Lennon be on iTunes?
It's on there now.
It's on there now. And it's not iTunes. iTunes doesn't exist anymore. It's Apple Podcasts.
Apple Music.
Apparent. or Apple Music.
It's a podcast.
Not a podcast.
We started an entire podcast as one song for the first episode.
I tried to actually, and I failed.
Jicklhofer says, "Why is Twitter such a hellscape?"
We've talked about this some before, but
people.
it's like giving megaphones to...
It's if everybody went into a room and they were given a megaphone, different sizes depending on how many followers they have. And they just yell their opinions at nobody in particular.
And nobody cares, and it matters for absolutely nothing in the real world.
And every time if you hear somebody say something in the giant noise and you like what they do, you hear a dinger. It's like a like button. So you hear all these dings, ding, 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 and everybody's talking, but they're not talking. There's no conversations happening. They're just all saying their opinions.
And then if you say the wrong thing,
it's what everybody really wants to do, but you'd only do it if you're a total jerk. You just walk around and start spouting your opinions.
You get duct taped and tied up, and you get thrown out.
Yeah.
To Twitter jail. Rusty Metal 14 says, Ethan, what's your favorite gun?
I am not that much of a gun nut. I have guns.
Why did they think you're a gun nut and I'm not? Why did they assume?
Are you?
So just
like the only ones I know I know that I have a Smith & Wesson 38 Special. It's pretty cool because I inherited that from my stepdad. I have a shotgun, which I think is Remington. I forgot. It's just like normal, like a 12 gauge. It's called the Man Killer, I think. Something like, it's a Home Defender.
That's a little different.
It's a little different. You're killing it. The
Man
Killer. They probably wouldn't name their gun that. It's not good marketing. Well, it could be good marketing.
Depends on your marketing.
Yeah,
too.
exactly. I mean, it's what they mean. Yeah. They mean Home Defender. What do they mean?
It sounds like
Man Tripper. They're a Man Wounder.
Sounds like a DC Comics villain or something. The Man Killer.
Are we going to go back to these YouTube people? I feel like they're clawing at the screen door.
One more. Jim Chom says, would the Babylon Bee consider recording their Dungeons & Dragons sessions and uploading them for us? Maybe, but I'd probably do it on a separate podcast and like tell you guys about it. So keep an eye out. Maybe we'll do something like that.
Separately. Switchfoot is greater than Reliant K, says Luke Johnson.
True.
Even I would agree. Well, actually, I don't know if I'd agree.
Reliant K is overrated.
I'd rather listen to Reliant K because I like good guitar playing. And I don't like U2 I don't like U2 sounding bands.
Okay. It's just very strange comparison that you made there.
Darth Fladnag says, Ethan, please say, and I'm going to say it, Pangalactic Gargle Blaster. Okay, I said it.
Dennis Fitzpatrick, what's your favorite style of pizza and why is it Chicago pizza with no pineapple? Which one's Chicago? I get that mixed up. Is that the deep dish?
Too.
I think it's the deep.
Super deep and it's like a pie or something.
I think cheese thick. Lots of cheese.
It sounds great. I don't know if I've ever had it.
I feel like I would like Chicago over the New York style.
Yeah. Whatever's more, I'll probably like that.
Yeah.
Unless it's not more pineapple.
The Chicago one has like bullets in it or something. Have you heard the new Iron Maiden song? Asks Lord Marculus. Yeah,
no.
It was a little weird. It's kind of a Western twang to it. I'm interested,
Darth, keep getting Darth's. Sorry, Fladnag. Mitchell Fernikivich. Tarantula was almost a mate suitable for Adam. That was close. What? I don't know about that. There was no death before the fall. Tarantulas didn't die until after sin entered the world, says Valentin Var. So they just walked around with like a hollowed out hole in their chest after the hawk burst through? Or is that Satan's twisting of nature that he made the tarantula hawk lay eggs in spiders' chests?
I don't think he has the power to do that.
You think he has that power? He can make snake talk. I don't know if that's how it works.
I don't know if he possessed a snake. He was the snake.
So he can dress up as one.
I guess.
Yeah, we don't. I'm not gonna say I understand. I don't know if it works.
Mr. Peanut Noir asks, should atheists pray? Yes, they should pray and repent of their sins and follow Jesus.
They should pray and ask God, why am I so dumb?
That's exactly what they...
Owned, atheists. Owned you.
William Fournier, Mario or Sonic? Mario. Zemek Vanzeri, what version
Mario.
of D&D do you play? I play Basic, I DM 5th edition.
Not a lie says, and this is a female, says, Ethan, think of it this way, at least at your weight, don't look like a beta male liberal.
Are you trying to say something about me?
No, she's saying at least, maybe. Does Kyle look like a beta male
unlike
liberal?
the other guy in the room with you.
And then she did the tongue out face, like that face.
Can we see that face one more time? You know, we need a segment where we just pull up emojis.
And try to do them.
Have Ethan
Well,
do them.
there's the one where the eyes are like all crashing.
Okay, well, let's jump back over to some subscriber
Oh yeah,
questions. from the
subscriber
website.
questions.
Minty Hippo Actual says, would you rather fight one man-sized toddler or 8 toddler-sized men? This is actually a really interesting question to me.
It is
they,
interesting.
They do the one about the duck-sized horse and the horse-sized duck or whatever.
Mm.
This one's more interesting to me because a toddler.
Yeah, there's a moral thing there. You're gonna beat a toddler up,
Because a toddler has like limitless energy and no moral compass.
and then it has the strength of a man.
But it's tiny. And then yeah, if it had the strength of
So
a
it's
man.
It's like Lenny from Of Mice and Men.
Oh, that's a good point.
Yeah. Would you
Well,
rather fight
except-
Lenny from Of Mice and Men or
But Lenny just...
a bunch of willows?
I think Lenny was better behaved than a toddler.
Well, as if he's angry.
Right. But he just kind of was
He
like
has to
dopey.
fight you.
And,
Well, you have to fight him though.
yeah. So like drop...
Oh, but yeah, he's not he's not hyperactive like a toddler.
I always have trouble with these fight questions because is
Yeah.
it run away? Can I run away? Is it like drop into an arena?
It has to be. You have to just assume you're locked in an arena.
Locked in
you
an
have
arena,
to fight them,
unarmed to the death.
and your family will be slain if you do not kill them.
But like men who are the size of toddlers might be pretty strategic about how they might like huddle up. And,
Yeah,
okay,
they
here's
could
how
do
we're
like
gonna-
the triangular formation and like the spin around and the vortex kick.
Man-sized toddler, you could just give him an iPad.
That's
Distract
true.
him.
Just throw the iPad over there, and then shoot him in the back of the head. Well, you probably don't get a gun. But you have to win the fight though, and if you don't want to do hand to hand with a man-sized toddler, so right?
Aowen asks,
You
what
have
is
to
the
win.
what is the worst book you've ever read? This is a tough one, and we've asked this to some of our guests, and the problem with this question is that bad books are hard to get through, and you just don't read them. You just
Right.
stop. So I tried to read The Handmaid's Tale, and it was terrible, and I didn't read
Mm.
more than a chapter. Ready Player One, let me pull that up because it is the worst book that I've read 3 times. How about that?
Well, it's a fun read. It's fun to read,
It's a
right?
fun read that is objectively horrible.
I would say I really had fun reading Roald Dahl until I read my kids The Great Glass Elevator, which is like the follow-up to Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, and it's an insanely disappointing.
Now, did you read it as a kid?
It feels like he just made it up as he's going along, and just
Did you read it as a kid or just as...
only as an adult? So
I
he
read it as a
probably-
kid, and I didn't know it was like considered bad, or I mean, is it considered bad? I don't know.
I know my kids weren't into it, and they were more into it than I was because they wanted. I'm like, do you really want to keep going? Because it's clear. I think I read it as a writer, and I could tell what he was doing. He was doing stream of consciousness, and it felt like he was really just cashing in on. I don't even know if cashing in. He was having fun for himself, but there's a lot of old guy jokes in there and stuff that like wouldn't be funny to kids anyway, and it wasn't. It just didn't have the kind of just whimsicalness and stuff of the other books.
And it is weird that it's not.
It's very random.
It has nothing to do with the other books.
It goes nowhere. Yeah.
Is it the weird blobby aliens that like?
Yeah, it's all about
On
the
the
weird
spaceship.
blobby
Yeah.
aliens and all the stuff happening between the city and Earth and politicians. And
Sentinel asks if I'm ever down there, can I visit the B campus, tour the studios, and see the back lot? Can I sit? Our back lot is our parking lot and alley. Can I sit in on a podcast session and lend a second voice to the laugh track? Yes.
Yeah.
Dog Money says, will you let me buy you a steak the next time you're in Oregon? Yes.
Sure. Well, I'm also I was just in Oregon.
You should have spoken up sooner,
Yeah.
Dog Money.
Darn it, Dog Money. How do you find out? You just go to the middle of Oregon and shout, "Dog Money!"
Dog Money.
Gwen42, who was a woman named Gwen, and she might be 42, but I don't know, or she was born in 42. That's older though. I mean, maybe I don't know. She's probably that's not old. Have you thought about doing a Babylon Bee music album? Must include "Go Down Donald" and "Imagine," and maybe 1 or 2 generated worship songs, and also don't forget the great song that I forgot the title to.
Be My RBG.
Be My RBG. Yeah, you my
Someone
RBG.
replied to that comment, by the way. And
Oh,
mentioned.
thank you,
So
whoever you were.
we should do that, and we just need like another
We
year to
need
compile
more
more
songs,
songs, and
yeah.
then we can do it.
I love doing the originals, but they don't do as well on YouTube. You got to like really nail it with an original.
Jim Morey says, "Hey guys, what's your favorite album of all time?"
Oh man, I hate
This is tough because there's so many genres, but
Yeah.
I'm gonna say Megadeth, Rust in Peace.
If I had to only have one album to listen to, it probably would be like, there's a greatest hits of.
His greatest hits count though.
Yeah, I don't know if
That's a
that
little bit
counts.
of a
So I'd
cheat.
have to pick like whatever has the most of the hits of. I always blank on his name too, Hank Williams. You know, like so. But if I could pick the album, the Hillbilly Shakespeare, which is a greatest hits album, I'd probably pick that because it's got a lot of songs, and I like singing along to Hank Williams. Where are we at here?
Tired Mama.
Tired Mama. She got us 4 questions. She's not that tired. What happened to the question I submitted yesterday? Here they are again. That was question number 1.
It got raptured.
We don't know. Kyle knows. Number 2. How can we pray for you?
That we can come up with funny jokes every day. It's hard to do.
Pray that I be a good dad and good father and a good
that.
husband.
I changed my answer.
When will we see more Potato?
Potato's our animated news anchor and one of our...
So we had this plan
cartoons.
to bring back our news station, animated news station. It hasn't quite panned out yet. We're working.
It just takes a lot of work.
It's a lot of work, and we're trying to work up an introduction and kind of a new... Anyway, so it's like in the background. And also we want to be able to turn this around fast, so we need to preliminarily get a lot of stuff done ahead of time. And once it's ready, hopefully we'll bring back Potato and Guy Curtis and all those characters.
And then she finally asked, my daughter wants to know when there will be more toddler stories. I guess that's more stories of your Calvin?
Yeah, our kids. I'm guessing, yeah. What has Calvin done recently? It's just all a blur. The crazy thing is recently, like yesterday, he just spent the whole day... He discovered one of those puzzles with pieces that are like that big. It takes up like 2 foot by 3 feet. And he took it apart and put it together like 9 times. He's just obsessed with it.
That's great.
So he just spent the entire day doing that. It's like, what did you do with the real Calvin?
Saint Anger says, Dave Mustaine asks you to be the fifth member of Megadeth. What instrument do you play?
Banjo.
Megadeth and banjo.
Why not?
I want to hear Megadeth with banjo now.
It feels like you're saying Megadeth.
Megadeth with banjo. They did have that one weird song, Breadline or something.
I never really listened to them.
Really? I would drop an anvil on Dave Ellefson and take over the bass position.
On an oboe.
Or oboe. One of those two.
Hope Avery 3 days ago says, was it 3 days ago? That's from the thing.
It's not relevant.
Would you have let the people go when the land was covered with frogs, or would you just waited? If you're a pharaoh, is what I'm guessing he's asking.
So I really like this question.
Yeah.
I think we should, because it's to put yourself in Pharaoh's shoes, or I don't know if he wore shoes, sandals, and to go down the line and say, at what point would I have said, okay, that's enough.
Yeah, we done.
So Plague 1, blood. The Nile turns to blood. And I'm trying to put myself in Pharaoh's frame of mind, not a believer.
Did they get all their water from the Nile? Because the Nile, I don't know.
I would think most of it would come
So they got to
from the
drink
Nile.
blood and shower in blood? How long is it blood for? I can't remember.
I don't know. I don't know when the blood dissipated.
Ugh, so
I
gross.
think if it turned to blood, I would not repent in blood.
You wouldn't repent yet of blood?
Go to frogs. So frogs everywhere.
Frogs was second? That was only second?
That was the second one.
Wow. I can't remember them in order.
I don't get grossed out by frogs, so I would.
Yeah, I think
would
they're
not
cool.
repent at
I'd
frogs.
kind of be... I'd be too busy being like, whoa, where all these frogs come from
Yeah.
to do anything else.
Gnats.
Oh, that'd be hard. They're the
Gnats are
worst.
pretty annoying.
Yeah.
I still don't think I'd repent though. I think
You'd have to invent the flamethrower.
that's true.
That'd be cool.
I think in the hardness of my heart, I would be like, it's just gnats. It's not a miracle or anything.
Yeah.
I don't know how crazy it was. If it was just like a crazy black cloud of gnats, or I assume it was pretty bad.
Assuming God can control any insect or any animal, and he's doing that with gnats, what if he did that with bears or like
It's
even horseflies?
I'll take gnats over bears.
Yeah. Just
And
covered.
then flies is next.
Oh, they did flies?
Gnats and then flies.
That's basically what happens this time of year when your kids leave the screen door open.
Yeah, so it's just like your kids leaving the screen door open. All the livestock dies. So now you're like out of meat.
Got no meat. But if you're Pharaoh, you probably got a stock of meat somewhere.
And you can still probably cut it up and make some jerky, even though it
You
died.
got some jerky back there. You can eat your servants if you have to.
Okay, then we get to boils, plague 6, festering boils. Okay, I'm repenting at boils.
You're repenting of boils? I feel like I've gotten some pretty...
itchy all over your body. I mean,
I've gotten like some pretty crazy mosquito bite attacks, and I've survived those just fine.
okay, so you're hanging in there. I've let the people go. I've let the Jews go.
I'm sticking in with boils.
You're hanging in there.
Yeah.
Okay, hail.
Hail is next?
Hail strikes down everything in the fields, humans, animals, and trees.
It's probably bad. I probably can't conceive of how bad that is in my modern comfort that I'm in.
Locusts is number 8.
I've never really had to deal with locusts.
They
Are
devour
they like grasshoppers?
kind of. They devour every tree and plant in the land of Egypt.
So we're not looking good. We're covered in gnats and flies and frogs.
No, I'm good. I've already let the people
Everything's
know.
eaten. We got boils all over us. The water's blood.
That's you.
Yeah. Well, what'd you do? Okay, that's in your reality.
I've repented.
There's still the aftermath.
So are you hanging in there with locusts?
I don't know. I mean, we already got through gnats and flies, but how much worse are locusts?
Okay, then darkness. Darkness covers the land of Egypt for 3 days.
That's probably really
Pitch black for 3 days. You're getting freaked out at that point, at least.
Are you just having nightmares now?
I'm
You're
asking
seeing
you.
things, and you're probably missing out on a lot of sleep, so you're having like all these hallucinations.
But you're hanging in there?
It's easy for me to hang in there because I'm not really doing
You're a
it.
pretty stubborn guy.
Yeah, I am stubborn.
All right. Firstborn is murdered. Good job, Ethan.
Yeah, that would do it.
Pharaoh Nicolle.
Wow, I really identify with Pharaoh now after all that. I've just been
Kind of
down
an interesting thought
this
exercise,
journey,
right?
respect him more. He's stronger than you.
Yeah. P. Bergmeyer says, what do you like best about Michael Malice? Michael Malice, is that you? Secret subscriber to the Battle
Yeah,
V?
is that him? Did he subscribe?
Probably.
Or does he have a friend? Maybe he has a friend.
Abraham asks, when are you guys moving to Texas?
Never.
Never?
I'd visit though.
I like visiting Texas.
I've never gotten to visit Texas. I would like to.
I like mountains.
I like barbecue.
They have some mountains, but, Dallas
And
is
some
pretty
barbecue.
fun. Don't like barbecue.
Kyle doesn't like barbecue.
Pseudo asks, what is your favorite type of pie?
Coconut cream.
I can't think of a pie that I like. Apple pie, I guess. I like apple pie. Apple pie is good. Why are you laughing at me? Like apple pie.
What's your favorite kind of pizza? Pepperoni.
That's because why? Because everybody likes it.
It's just such a standard. What's your favorite sandwich? Peanut butter and jelly. What's your favorite hamburger? Just a hamburger.
Here's a question from John Dunham. Why does Kyle look like a villain from a Pure Flix movie?
And I think in the Imagine video, you definitely do.
A villain?
You look like a serial killer. Just those little circle glasses, and also the way you move, kind of robotically. I could see you kind of like running your finger along the blade of a knife as you're talking to somebody about like philosophy, like God fortunately for me, there is no God, and therefore there is no moral reason for me not to kill you right now. And then the person on the floor is like, actually, the Calum cosmological argument tells us that there is a God. And you're like, all of a sudden you repent. Because it's Pure Flix.
Perpetual NUI says, when will you have Gina Carano on as a guest? Gina, if you're watching.
Only one person can answer this.
Come on, that's a guest.
And
Otherwise,
her name rhymes with Bina Shmarano.
I will continue to pester you and get you out here. Does Kyle have any favorite board games that take less than 30 minutes to play? Oh, boy, am I...
He answered yes. That's all we need.
Oh, man.
What did you have like a whole document opened up?
I had it already, and now it's gone. Oh,
he closed it. No, it's okay. We can move on.
Downforce, Sonar, Pandemic Hot Zone North America, Forbidden Island, Meeple Circus, Junk Art, Men at Work, Ice Cool, and Lupin Louie.
This
Write
is not
that
a
down.
board game podcast.
Write that down. Truddle says, have you ever thought of having the guy from Lutheran Satire on the show? He's referring to Hans Feeney, who runs a YouTube channel called Lutheran Satire.
That's a great idea.
It's a great idea.
We should go back in time and do that.
Let's do it right now.
Let's do it like a year ago. All right, now check the history back about maybe a year ago.
And
You'll find the interview that we just did in our time machine. Gabriel Syme. And now he's using Syme as a Chesterton character from The Man Who Was Thursday, which he's going to ask me about. He says, I think I recall Ethan saying he hadn't read The Man Who Was Thursday. Apologies if I'm wrong, in which case stop reading now. I did read it about 3 times. It's hard work but I'm going to keep reading. It's hard work for a while, but the final denouement and message are spectacular. In my honest opinion, go for it, Ethan. So the final denouement, as you call it, which I'm guessing is the last chapter, was the part that confused me the most. I had a guy, I actually had Dale Ahlquist, the president of the Chesterton Society, explain the ending to me one time. You guys know I forget things. Like, I read a book and forget the whole thing. I cannot remember the explanations. He gave it to me, and another guy like totally unlocked it for me. He was like, "Oh, that's it. You made the whole sense of the whole book," and I can't remember what it was. So,
It tells you the secret for life.
But it makes my whole life more of an adventure because I'm always exploring and discovering because I can't remember anything.
Your life is an inconvenience, rightly
like
considered.
I'm like a goldfish.
Dan07 says, "What are Kyle's top 3 board games?"
Why?
It's a board game podcast. It's great.
You picked the questions. That's why we're getting.
Well, you get to talk about Chesterton. Kyle's top 3 board games.
That's
Approximately how many does he have in his collection? I'm so glad you asked. My top 3 board games are Galaxy Trucker, Acquire, and Space Hulk. I have about 350 board games. Melvin Sherman says, "Do you have any plans to make a board game?"
No, he said, "Do you have any plans to make a Borad game?"
Actually, a Borad game is
a Borad game.
Old typo. I designed a Babylon Bee card game like right when the site first launched. I never did anything with it.
Andromus. What's this? I find it interesting that Ethan seems to shun most mainstream geek stuff: Star Trek, Star Wars, Lord of the Rings,
board
Marvel,
games,
DC, etc. So I'm really curious to hear about what geek culture things he actually does like.
Can you think of a mainstream geek
I was a
thing?
fan of Ninja Turtle stuff growing up, and like even into Older Than You Should Be, right? But probably the most thing I'm most nerded out for was Mystery Science Theater 3000.
Okay, that's still
and Riff Tracks, because those guys like they have a huge nerd audience, and
yeah,
I'm like,
sure.
and I always like geeked out about the idea of ever meeting them, and I got super lucky and became friends with one of them, or actually all of them, but that's just because one of them happened to be a right-wing nut job. That worked out. It's nice when you meet your heroes and they're ideologically not like wouldn't want to crush you if they found out what you really thought.
And they're not communists.
Yeah.
It's always nice when you meet your heroes and they're not communists.
Not rote-stomping communist people.
David the Florida man says, "Dude, bro, what do you guys think about co-opting Arbor Day into Tolkien Int Day in honor of the great J.R.R. Tolkien? I am pro.
Tight, bro. I like it.
I'm pro this idea. We should cancel Earth Day and have Ent Day. We actually talked about this on our Lord of the Rings podcast coming out this weekend.
I think once we've made enough progress, then we can just get rid of one of these months that's taken over. Because I got like Black History Month and like what other months they got? Now they got Gay Month, I think, or something. LGBT Month.
It's called Pride Month.
Pride Month. That's the one. Yeah. Once they've achieved
Gay Month.
Privilege, and they no longer get we don't get a month, so we've reached the best thing to be is the guy who doesn't get a month. So if you can reach the level of non-monthness, so once they get that and they're like, all right, we're canceling the month, you guys are good, we could do Ent Month.
I'm down.
Oppressed Californian 2 days ago. What do I say?
You don't have to read that.
He copied and pasted it in.
I did that.
I'm an autopilot. Kyle, when you were at the Master's College, who was your favorite prof?
My favorite prof was Doug Bookman, and you should look up his stuff. He's got some good stuff online.
I thought it was like a superhero. It just says Bookman.
He was this guy that would start off the class by saying, "All right, now by the way, before I get started," and he would go off on this aside that had nothing to do with what we were talking about, but you would learn so much from it, and then he would never get back to the topic. So I took like Old Testament.
Really enjoyed his job.
I took like Old Testament, New Testament from him, but never actually talked about the Old Testament, New Testament parts. Like just all this crazy background theological
This reminds me of
stuff.
my friend Snurdly Magoo back on the ranch.
And he kind of devoted a lot of his studies to the final week of the life of Christ, and so it's like he would always break down like what Jesus was doing every
like
hour.
Mel Gibson or something
on the Passion Week. It's just pretty cool stuff.
Go Big Blue asks a question for Kyle. If God is truly a loving God, why did he allow Guinness records to be created?
The question that keeps me up at night and makes me doubt the most is that question. Agent Q says, "What's your favorite genre of movie?" That's one of those questions.
Genre.
Like, do you like movies?
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's kind of easier because it's definitely action. I'm just like obsessed with like standard action. Like I'm always looking for my next, like Taken experience. When I saw Taken, I was like, this is so good. Like it's so simple and good. Or what's a recent one? Even like the one with Denzel Washington when he's like Equalizer. He's defending the prostitute's honor. Just a simple, defending or don't mess with my kid. I beat up your whole mafia.
That's great.
Nobody was awesome. Oh man, I love Nobody.
That's a great genre.
So
Genre.
the simple guy versus everybody. I love those.
I like apple pie.
Okay. The movie? You like American Pie or no?
I think I like mockumentaries the best. AJ Powers says, what are your plans to address the Babylon Bee's lack of diversity and inclusiveness?
We are looking.
And we already mentioned, but we do have 2 people of...
Yeah, we already have 2. What's the proper term for them?
For those people.
Men of China.
I don't think that's the proper term.
No, that's fine. You can't say it the other way around. If you say it the other way around, that's bad.
But
they're China, comma.
No, don't. But they are considered white adjacent now. They're considered honorary white.
They're honorary white.
So it doesn't help us.
But yeah, we're open. As long as you're not, you don't suck. Come on in.
Renegade of Rock says, can I get somebody from the Babylon Bee to guest on my podcast? I would take Kyle, but would really prefer Ethan.
Wow. Everybody usually wants Kyle, so thank you. Kyle's more attractive. Sorry. He's the editor-in-chief. He has cooler facial hair.
I stress out going on podcasts because I go, oh, crap, is that today? And
I know. I always, if I say I'll be on your podcast, number one, I'm sorry that I missed it 3 times. And then you should also know that, I was feeling particularly guilty that day about all the ones I've turned down.
And that's why you
it's
said
not
yes.
that I'm like, that sound makes you sound like really,
yeah.
It's more that I don't get asked that often, but I just I can't anymore. I can't do that often.
It's hard to concentrate.
And whenever I say I'll do it, the day it arrives, I'm like, oh, why did I do this?
All right, let's power through these last few subscriber questions.
Okay,
and then we'll do a few more YouTubers before we call it quits here.
Okay. This guy said, a bad seed lawyer? Ethan, I've asked you questions about Nick Offerman since you illustrated one of his books. Nick Offerman successfully navigated I actually illustrated 2 of his books. Nick Offerman successfully navigated the Hot Ones Spicy Chicken Wings Challenge / interview. Can either you or Kyle successfully traverse the Hot Ones Challenge / interview?
It's a // I don't know what that is. It's the
Hot Wings show. It's all the famous people go on there, and a lot of people do it. Even little people, so little people you wouldn't think could handle it. Or because the interesting thing about it is it's really hot sauce. It's legitimately hot because I have the hot sauces at my house. I have Da Bomb beyond insanity, and it is legitimately painful. It made my mucus started coming out of my face, and this is the stuff that pepper spray's made out of. So, so it's intense.
I don't think I could do it. I like heat.
I'd love to do it.
I like heat.
It would hurt though.
I like spice, but when it gets to the point of just being pure pain,
yeah, there are ones that are just pure pain at the end of it. There,
I'm not a fan.
But I have like I said, it's kind of like that. Hurt myself today to feel that I'm real.
Yeah,
I think it's like that. It's like my version of being a goth is eating hot food.
It's like your Johnny Cash 9 Inch Nails.
Yeah.
Thing.
I feel the pain. Something that's real. Yeah.
Jubes42 says it sounds like what the
Jubes 42.
That's what the quarterback shouts.
Yeah.
What would it take for either
Baseball.
of you to join the Catholic Church?
G.K. Chesterton coming back to life and
he would just tell you,
telling me that he wouldn't be my friend unless I joined.
You can hang out with me, but only if you join the Catholic Church. He was friends with atheists. He would hang out.
That's true.
with you.
Yeah, I don't think he would do that. So luckily.
If the Catholic Church acknowledged salvation by faith alone, through grace alone, through Christ alone, and the Scriptures as the sole authority, spiritual authority and source of truth, they could join with us in salvation and epistemology. Then I would be more than happy to join with the Catholic Church and see that all reunited. Love you, Catholics. Patrick was booing. He was literally booing
the whole
there.
time. Agent Q.
He was booing the Bible. I said, make the Bible the authority of truth. He's like, boo,
booing that.
boo.
Yeah. Boo,
Did you hear that?
Well, you have to say Mary, then he gets all excited. Agent Q says, Ethan, do you have any tips for beginning writers? I just started writing a spy novel, and it's the first book I haven't given up on after 4 paragraphs, so I'd love some pointers. It's going to be really hard. You're going to hit walls where you feel like you got nothing. That's why it's really good to have your outline figured out first. You really need an outline, and it needs to be more than just, a list of points on one page. Try to write a detailed Like, to me, the thing that's helped me the most, and my process changes per every book I write, and I haven't read that many. I'm not like a super prolific writer, but try writing a version of your book where you're just saying, after that, the character goes into this place and he might do this, or he could do this too. You know, actually, I kind of like that he does that. Let's try and go down that. Like, you're almost like you're talking to yourself, but follow your character on their journey. And you can stop and do a free version where he can change course and like just go. And it'll end up being like you have kind of half-sized chapters and it's messy and there's all these typos, but you've explored all the options. And for me, that helped me a lot when I started writing that way for the first few drafts. And then, or it wasn't even drafts, that's a really rough, messy outline. I kind of highlight the things that were working and then go back. And usually at that point, you knowing so well what you want. So anyway, that was a thing that I read in a book. I'd never heard that before. So it's worth a shot to know where you're going and to kind of have a version of it where you're not going to hit a point, and if it's not working, you're going to give up.
Squirrels and the Bird Feeder says, some of my favorite podcast episodes are the family episodes. The Babylon Bee guys' wives, Kyle's dad. Would you ever consider bringing your kids on the podcast? I actually, there is an episode, I think, where my kids talk because they were hanging out here at the other office in the subscriber portion. But they super clammed up. Like, even the talkative ones, shy. They were like, I'm like, hey, what's going on? What's your favorite? What do you like to do? And they're just like,
yeah, I did. Totally silent.
Play guitar. Just like,
and it wasn't video yet, right? And they're just
wasn't video. I think they were just freaked out about it. So,
yeah, my little kids would probably be just knocking over the cameras, I assume. And I don't know. My 11-year-old might be into it. 14-year-old, I have no idea what she would do, because she seems to like I've taken her to the office here, but she's very left-leaning woke at the moment. But also, she's at that age where she doesn't really know what she believes. I don't think as well. I mean, she's learning. She's figuring it out. So
they're figuring it out.
Yeah.
Last subscriber question. Thank you, Babylon Bee subscribers, for sending in all these questions. It's been great.
That was fun.
Some Midwestern guy says, do you send your kids to public, private, or homeschool, and why? We sent our kids to public school for years, and now we are homeschooling them. And it wasn't really an ideological decision at the time, but we are glad we're doing it, because we did pull them out before the pandemic thing started, and we're glad we did, especially all the crazy stuff that's coming out now. It was more just the teachers weren't able to spend the time that my kids needed instructing them. So
yeah, we're kind of combination now. We have our two older kids decided they wanted to go back to public school. Our two younger, well, the youngest kid isn't in school yet, and then the other one, our 6-year-old, is homeschooled. It's getting harder because because it's more complicated now that she's getting older. We're learning as we go.
All right, we're going to go ahead and hit a few subscriber comments, YouTuber comments. I just went ahead and pulled up YouTube here, and I'm going to see what. I just went over to YouTube. I'm going to look and see what people are saying. If you see any, I know that Patrick pulled a few in that.
I'll go through Patrick's. You go through the latest ones.
Yeah.
What is a Daniel Coates? Come here, Dan. Show him what a Daniel Coates is.
He's our podcast producer, our senior producer.
He's right over there. But yeah, he's real. You could Google him probably. Is he at the point? Are you Googleable yet, Dan?
Stop.
Let's see if he's Googleable.
It's canceled forever.
Daniel Coates. No, it's a black guy. It's a football player.
He was like a congressman, wasn't he, Dan? Or he was like...
Oh, yeah, there's a famous Dan Coates,
He was like Bush's something or another.
Man.
Secretary of something. Of Coates. Secretary of Outerwear.
All right, we got to get Dan Googleable. We got to work on that. If you search Dan Coates Babylon Bee, pops right up. Yeah.
Dennis Fitzpatrick asks, Ethan, what's the perfect breakfast burrito?
Oh, man. You need bacon, you need sausage, you need at least like 3 eggs that are like cooked medium, crispy hash browns, some avocado, garlic bulbs, not bulbs, but cloves, roasted, hot sauce, some good cheese in there. Yeah, something like that.
I like when they do the potato to egg ratio properly.
Yeah, like even more. I don't
like if it's too much potato.
Too potatoey, yeah. That's why I like the crunchy.
Crispy.
I want crunchy potato.
Absolutely.
Let's see. Sectus Gaming How did the name Babylon? Oh, how did the Okay, there's a no space there, so I called him Gaming How. It's actually, his name is Sectus Gaming. How did the name Babylon B get decided on?
Babylon was just a name because it sounds like we feel like we're Christians in exile a lot of the time, and B is a name that's the name of a newspaper, like the Sacramento Bee.
Finally, you answered that question. People have always asking, and you never answer it.
Who is funding you? Asks Randy. Russia.
Actually, you are. Subscribers are funding
Subscribers
us.
are.
Mostly. Subscribers and ads. Heather Bugger. I remember Bugger. Happy birthday, Bugger. Bugger, birthday, Bugger. Did you actually drink Coors in that last video?
We actually had
I think Patrick did.
Patrick like opened them, right? Like he
drank
jumped on the
some.
grenade for us. He's like chugging them so we'd have empty cans.
Wait, his lips were on that?
No, well,
Oh.
I'm shaking me and my
Yes.
Gross.
and then he washed it out.
That's right. We're even now. I ate half of his, or part of his burrito
So then they put a
today.
little water in it so we could like sip it, and then it just tasted like.
Yeah,
I know watered down Coors is like a,
It tastes
what do
like
you call it,
water with a
redundant,
hint of Coors. Yeah, so it was kind of worse.
Amazon just said that you could play any Middle Earth character in their new Lord of the Rings series, says the Supervids channel. Who do you play? I want to say Tom Bombadil, but I'm not fat or jolly enough.
Who do you play in Lord of the Rings?
Yeah, who would you be in Lord of the Rings? I would love to be Faramir. Well, that Amazon isn't doing that time period, though.
There's a period of my life where I looked exactly like Samwise.
Yeah.
So I might be. I don't know if I'm getting too old to pull that off now, though. I might have to just be one of the dwarves or the trolls. Or no, the fatter hobbit. I could be Bombad. What's his name? Bomber? What's the fat one? I think it's Bomber. No, Bomber and Bofer. No.
Oh, you're talking about the Hobbit?
Yeah, the really fat one.
Bomber sounds right to me, but I'm probably
Is it Bomber?
wrong. There's also a Hobbit named.
But I'm not quite as fat as Bomber. I don't think. That's pretty big.
There's a Hobbit named Fatty.
What?
In Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, Bomber's the fat one. See, I know my Lord of the Rings.
You're right. I said it was Bomber.
Bomber, Bofer, and Bifer.
I like this comment. Dude McMahon says, I'm now just realizing the plagues of Egypt sound like a typical summer in Texas. Giant flying cockroaches and boils. Welcome to Texas.
Scratching my boils. Ryan Drew says, Ethan, which bear would win in a fight? Winnie the Pooh, Mr. Bultitude? That's real? Baloo, Corduroy the Bear, Paddington, or Teddy Ruxpin? None of those are real. Those are all made-up bears. So that's hard. Baloo is the only one that's a real bear and not a teddy bear, right? I don't know what Mr. Bultitude is. I gotta Google this. You can take one, Kyle.
Darth Fladnag, that's our Gandalf backwards guy. Kyle, don't you have a good Kermit the Frog voice? Actually, I don't. I sound a little Kermity, but he has a better.
You sound like Kermit the Frog, but you don't sound exactly like Kermit the Frog.
He has a better Kermit impression than I do, but I naturally sit closer to Kermit on the voice scale.
Be together again. Just can't imagine
when I just
how it's all going
normally talk.
Like over, just going on.
Alpha Ghoul asks if the blood and the plagues of Egypt was technically just red
no.
algae. I don't think so. I think it was actually blood because it says it was blood.
Wait a minute. Okay, I searched Mr. Bultitude and that hideous strength came up. So that's from that. The last of the 7 bears of Logris and the hero of the novel, That Hideous Strength. Mr. Bultitude is a C.S. Lewis character. That he caught us in a.
He was in That Hideous Strength?
Apparently.
I'm halfway through That Hideous Strength, and I don't even know, but...
I've read... Which one's in the order is that?
The
I've read
third
Paralandra.
one. Hideous Strength is the third one.
I've read most of Paralandra and like half of one of the other ones. It's so long ago. Anyway, I'll go with that one because I'm sure C.S. Lewis could write a good... It's an actual bear, though, right? So it's not a teddy bear. So that's going to win. Obviously. Why even ask me?
All right, well, let's do a couple more.
Okay.
You got anything good here?
Norm Hiccup says, Ethan, you have a Remington 870. Oh, yeah, he knows my guns. That's Norm. That's
from the motorcycle identifies as bicycle video.
Yeah, so he knows my guns better than me. Remington 870. We go shooting together.
Brandon Burnett says, can you guys give a shout out to my wife, Nicolle? She turns 29 today.
Happy 29th birthday,
awesome.
Nicolle. I heard women go through a bit of an identity crisis at 29. They go from 29 to 30. Like they freak out around that age. Is that true?
I don't think my wife did.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't know my wife at 29. So. Oh, no, wait. No, that's when we...
She's gonna be in trouble here.
I
This
just
is
met
live.
her.
We can't
I
edit
just
it.
met her when she was like around that age. Yeah. Okay. Well, what do you think, Kyle? I mean, there's a lot of stuff here, but it's gonna be, it's getting to the point where it's like looking through them.
And most of the questions for me are about board games.
And this is a lot longer than we
I'm
planned
trying to
anyway.
avoid it just being a board game podcast.
You need to start a board game podcast.
If you want me to start a board
Favorite
game channel, let me
VeggieTales.
know and I'll do it. What's your favorite VeggieTales episode? That's Joseph Benedict Sartorius asks us.
Yeah. My favorite that I was involved with was, I've told you, Laura at Bat. I think it's a legitimately funny episode, and then also there's one called like.
That's the one you did. Yeah.
Yeah, like it's called like Ninja Pirate. I can't remember what it's like, Ninja Pirate something posse. But we just like did this like very Axe Cop style episode. That was fun.
I'd have to go back and watch all the classic ones and see which ones I remember.
You don't need those. We improved upon those so much.
My kids watch them sometimes, and I remember them, and I still do the jokes, and I still remember the bits, and
Your
they're
kids
pretty
should be
funny to
watching
me.
the new ones, though.
Yeah, but instead they're watching the good ones.
Oh.
Who's your friend says favorite MXPX song?
There's that one where he's like, bah, 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 bah.
Yeah, that's actually my favorite too. Is probably Punk Rock Show. I mean, come on.
Oh yeah, that one.
Maybe Under Lock and Key. All right. Well,
have you ever played Secret Hitler, the board game, Kyle? Is that real?
I've never played Secret Hitler.
That's a real thing?
There's like, yeah.
Oh, that's a board game question.
Yeah. I've never played Secret Hitler, sorry. I like The Resistance, similar. Have you ever played the board game Twilight Imperium? I did once, and it was one of the most miserable experiences of my life. I don't like games that are like 8 hours long.
I want to thank Ash and Ravi Bott and Greg Lopez and Jay Sand and George Jackson and Rob Green and Jeff Fisher and Zorik the 88 and Landon Sterenson and Gray and Paulus and Jade Jonas and Mikey P and Kendall and Rob MC, Not Alive, Ryan Hart, that guy, and all the other people in here.
I mean, we'd like to thank, we'd especially like to thank our...
Oh, subscribers. Those are new.
Oh, no, I was going to keep doing what you were doing.
Oh, okay.
We thank our boom operator, our Ravi Bott, our associate producer, Jonathan Adkins, our camera loader, Rob Mick, our choreographer, Darth Fladnag,
Agent Q, Jubes 42,
our casting director, Landon Stinnerson,
Bad Seed Lawyer. Oh yeah, our second gaffer, Renegade of Rock.
our
I almost missed that up.
our key grip, Mikey P,
Our visual director, AJ Powers.
our director of diversity, Josh Powers. Oh, did you already say by Josh Powers?
No,
Oh.
I don't know. Oppressed Californian. Our stuntmen, David Florida Man, Andromedus, Melvin Sherman, Dan07, Gabriel Syme, Trottle, and Perpetual NUE.
Body double, John Woodmass.
And dedicated to loving memory to Pseudo, Abraham, Pregemeyer, Hop, Avery One, Saint Anger, and Tired Mama, who all died on the job.
We salute them.
We salute you.
Thank you guys for joining us. Let us know if you enjoyed this, and we will do this more often. And thank you, subscribers.
We should do this more.
If you'd like to become a Babylon B subscriber and get priority to the Q&As and early podcasts and bonus content on the podcast and the ability to submit Babylon B headlines and all kinds of cool stuff, go to babylonb.com/plans. That's a /.
All right, well, without further ado, we bid you adieu.
See you later, fellows.
Thanks for joining us.
Is it off? He says it's not off.